Hello and welcome to a Rebels Radio latest interview. I'm joined by Slough Town Joint Manager Neil Baker. How are you, Neil?
Yeah, very well, John. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm looking forward to the game tomorrow, but ahead of that, let's talk about the two games that you've just played this week. How have they gone for you?
Well, last Saturday was not a great day for us against Windsor. We didn't really have any tempo to our game. It was a typical pre-season game, really, and not a great first performance. But to be honest, that's what sometimes pre-season's about, sort of brushing the cobwebs out, and we definitely did that.
What did you take away from it? Which players performed badly for you? Which performed well?
I wouldn't say badly. It was just one of those days where most people it didn't quite come off, and they probably used it as a bit of a fitness exercise. I mean, Windsor deserved to win the game. Luke Knight was a positive. I thought he played well when he came on the second half. But other than that, it wasn't one of our days really. But as you say, that happens in pre-season. It was disappointing, but sort of within a couple of hours, had got over it, and you've just got to work out that it is only pre-season and there's nothing to play for. No points at stake. And luckily, we went to Marlow on Tuesday night, missing a lot of players, and we put in a really good performance. And we only won the game 1-0, but we fully deserved to win the game sort of more comfortably. So you went from a negative to a positive. So the main negative so far has been the injuries we picked up.
Yeah, and what is the latest on that? Obviously, there was some bad injuries, and obviously, even before the pre-season, you got some bad news about Scott Harris, etc. And then following on from the injuries, what's the latest position with the squad?
Yeah, I mean, there's no secret that we're under the cosh a little bit. I mean, we've got I think we've got seven players out injured tomorrow. And that's, well, I think it might be more than that. In fact, we've got the 4 forwards all out injured: Warren Harris, Jake Parsons, Jules Shaw, and then obviously Fowler. So yeah, you're up to 8 players out injured, which is ridiculous for this stage of the season. I mean, in reality, you're looking at it and just hoping that we can get 3 or 4 of those fit for next Saturday against Totton to try and get something out of pre-season. It's been very difficult, because also pre-season you always find 1 or 2 go away at various times, and that isn't a problem when you've got a pretty much a fit squad. But to have as many injuries as we have, it's been a bit of a nightmare, and it's proved a bit of a nightmare for me and John the last couple of days, because we've been trying to drag in some players for tomorrow's game just to be able to fulfil the fixture.
In terms of the injuries, are any of them more serious, more long term, that might miss out on the early games of the season, say the Burnham game, the Hereford game?
It is a little bit difficult to tell at the moment. Jake obviously looked like a bad injury. He turned up at training last night and was walking okay on it. He's still in quite a bit of pain, so the extent of that one we don't know. Warren's got a problem at the moment. We're not quite sure on what he's actually done, and it is a bit of a concern at the moment because he can't straighten his leg properly, and he's struggling to walk a little bit on it. So he could be a concern, which is obviously it would be a huge blow for us. Eddie should be fine. Eddie's probably looking for the AFC Tottenham game to be available. Same with Johnny Dyer. Same with George. So those 3 should be there or thereabouts. But it's just 1 or 2 little concerns really. Obviously Scott, we'll have concrete news. He has a scan on Sunday, and we'll get news on the 5th of August. So he might get the all clear, and we'll form part of the squad for the first game of the season.
And you obviously took the decision to cancel the pre-season game on Tuesday against Fleet. Was that a difficult decision?
Yeah, of course it is. You don't want to let anyone down. They're nice guys over at Fleet. Obviously, it's a local club to us, so we didn't really want to sort of let them down. But the main thing is we've got 9 fit players, and they're going to end up playing 390 minutes in a week. And at this stage of pre-season, it's just not the right thing to do, that we think, and it just just gives other opportunities to pick up more injuries. So we decided nice and early to sort of cancel that and give Fleet enough time to try try and replace that friendly, which they've done with Bracknell Town. So, yeah, it's disappointing, but it just allows us to regroup after tomorrow, see where we are sort of come the end of the week, and then we can know where we are for Tottenham.
You've sounded a little bit down about the kind of way pre-season's gone today. I know it's far from ideal, but what positives can you take? Obviously, you've seen a lot of the new players that are bedding in a little bit and settling down.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that is a positive. There's been some good performances when especially in the last game, from 2 or 3 of them. Reece, Luke Knight, and to be fair, Tom Moran's done really well. The young lad from Bracknell, Sam Barrett's, he did well on Tuesday as well. So we're still looking at him. And sometimes in adversity, you might pick up 1 or 2 that you probably weren't sort of anticipating. So, yeah, I mean, it is difficult because a week ago on the Thursday night after 4 sessions, myself and John were absolutely buzzing. Then come Tuesday or Thursday this week, it's a completely different story because of the injuries you picked up. So, but I'm sure I'd rather them now than during the season. So, yeah, we've still got plenty of time.
Are you planning to bring in many more trialists to kind of mix it up a little bit?
Well, we've got 2 tomorrow. We've had to bring in 4 players, which we've had some help from Gordon Bartlett at Wildstone, where we're bringing a couple of lads from Wildstone in, and there's also another couple of lads coming as well. Yeah, I mean, we've been sort of ducking and diving the last couple of days. It's quite difficult to actually get players in because a lot of players are trying to earn themselves deals at other clubs and don't really want to just come out and help out for a one-off game. So.
Also, the squad's been finalised in terms of you've announced some kind of departures over the last couple of weeks. Obviously, key one being Woos, but also Gath Risbridger. I understand probably Steve Duff's not going to be available for a little while. What are your thoughts and comments on those guys?
Yeah, I mean, if I'm 100% honest, Gareth come in back end of last season, and he's still struggling with his fitness. Gareth's a great player. There's no taking away from him, but he's had a lot of serious injuries, and we needed him probably to do a pre-season. In fact, he is going to be involved tomorrow because he is going to come and help us out. He's going to come and sit on the bench and maybe get half an hour. I mean, the situation with Riz is, he might come and do the odd session and see where he is, but it's not somebody that we can count on long term at the moment. He might come back and might prove a point and whatever else, but at the moment we've got to count him out. Steve Duff, similar thing really. He's not back till September. We both like Steve as a player, but if he's missing the whole of pre-season, it's going to be very difficult for him. And then obviously Woos, it's obviously been talked about, but Woos decided that he was going to call it a day at Slough because probably mainly to do with the travelling, and also the fact that he's probably going to miss the first month of the season, and I think that might have found it, especially if we started well, he might have found it difficult to sort of get himself back in, and I think at this stage he just wants to play football.
You mentioned the travelling. Obviously, that's quite a big challenge in this league. It's a step up both for the players and the fans. The fixtures were released, or sort of released, then half released, then bodged release on Thursday, much to confusion of where people were going. It's ended up that obviously the first few games give you a nice home game against Burnham, but then a hell of a trip on a Tuesday night to Hereford. What have you made of the fixtures?
Well, it's obviously we're at Burnham actually, first game of the season, so we're away our first 2 games. I mean, you do wonder, who actually sets up the fixtures. I mean, because I think most normal people would assume that you'd play Hereford on a Saturday and Burnham on a Tuesday. It just makes perfect sense. So that's a little bit frustrating. I mean, yes, there is travelling. There is more travelling than what we were used to last year. But in reality, you're probably looking at 6 or 7 long journeys. The rest are pretty much of a muchness. And at the end of the day, you're still at home 23 times in the season. So, I don't really subscribe to all the travelling. I mean, yes, Truro and Bideford and even Hereford, to be fair, I mean, that's probably the worst fixture that we've had, Hereford on a Tuesday night, because that is a long journey and that's not the easiest to get to on a Tuesday night. But when I looked at the midweek games that we've been allocated, they're not too bad at all. You're looking at Poole, Biggleswade and Corby, and they're all places that you can get to within sort of an hour and a half, really. So we're not too fussed about those, and it is what it is. We might end up having to go somewhere long distance on a Tuesday night as well, and if we do, we'll just have to deal with whatever's thrown at us.
Good. Looking ahead to Maidenhead, obviously played them last season.
Yeah.
When good result. Big change in the team. What are you looking to get from tomorrow's game?
To be honest, it's a fitness exercise for the lads that are part of our squad. So it's important that they work hard. We're not going there hoping to win the game or expecting to win the game or anything like that. We're just going to go along and treat it as a pre-season friendly. We're going to have a number of new faces in the side that start the game, and that's always difficult because I think we've got at least 4 players that are going to be in the changing room that have never met any of our lads. So, that's not the easiest thing in the world. We're bringing in one of the youth team lads as well. So it's a case of getting the job done tomorrow. Go in there, working hard. The lads who are playing, they work hard for as long as they can. We try and be competitive, and that's all you can really say at the moment. If any side's missing 5 or 6 of their key players, they're always going to be a bit weaker, and so that might be the case tomorrow. But obviously, there's 1 or 2 that we don't really know an awful lot about, and we might be surprised.
Good. Well, I hope we are. Thank you ever so much for your time. And we'll speak to you shortly, or you or unders over the next kind of week or so, to get another update on the squad and the results that are happening. But all the best for tomorrow, and I'm sure we'll all look forward to having a beer at the beer festival tomorrow.
Very good. Cheers.